Good morning. My name is Maureen Chung. Welcome to Daily Devotional of June the 3rd. The Bible passage is Exodus chapter 3, verse 1 to 15. And the title is, I am who I am. Now Moses was tending the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian. And he led the flock to the far side of the wilderness and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. There the angel of the Lord appeared to him in flames of fire from within a bush. Moses saw that though the bush was on fire, it did not burn up. So Moses thought, I will go over and see this strange sight, why the bush does not burn up. When the Lord saw that he had gone over to look, God called to him from within the bush, Moses, Moses. And Moses said, Here I am. Do not come any closer, God said. Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground. Then he said, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. At this, Moses hid his face because he was afraid to look at God. The Lord said, I have indeed seen the misery of my people in Egypt. I have heard them crying out because of their slave drivers, and I'm concerned about their suffering. So I have come down to rescue them from the hand of the Egyptians and to bring them up out of that land into a good and spacious land, a land flowing with milk and honey, the home of the Canaanites, Hittites, Amorites, Perizzites, Hivitites, and Jebusites. And now the cry of the Israelites has reached me, and I have seen the way the Egyptians are oppressing them. So now go. I'm sending you to Pharaoh to bring my people, the Israelites, out of Egypt. But Moses said to God, Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt? And God said, I will be with you, and this will be the sign to you that it is I who have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you will worship God on this mountain. Moses said to God, Suppose I go to the Israelites and say to them, The God of your fathers has sent me to you, and they ask me, What is his name? Then what shall I tell them? God said to Moses, I am who I am. This is what you are to say to the Israelites. I am has sent me to you. God also said to Moses, Say to the Israelites, the Lord, the God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. This is my name forever, the name you shall call me from generation to generation. Oppression and ethnic cleansing run rampant when a dominant cultural ethnic group attempts to forcibly rule over another minority group of people. In Syria, Bashar al-Assad has been president since July year 2000. In March 2011, in the period known as the Arab Spring, protests took place for political reforms leading to wider civil rights. That soon led to a bloody clampdown. Civil war broke out, resulting in the loss of over 606,000 lives. About 13.5 million Syrians are forcibly displaced, which is over half of the country's population, with 6.7 million people displaced from their homes in Syria and 6.8 million refugees who have fled the country. Oppression and civil war happen more than we know. In August 2021, Taliban terrorists gained control in Afghanistan rapidly. The deadline for American withdrawal from the country was on August 31st of 2021. Afghans who had been involved with foreign countries as interpreters and employees feared persecution from their own Taliban countrymen. They desperately sought to be evacuated with their families with foreign help. Some did evacuate. Some are still stuck waiting in secret. Another wave of refugees will come from Afghanistan. Jesus has foretold in Matthew chapter 24, verse 7. Nation will rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places. These are happening already today. In around 1500 BC, that many years before Christ, when the Hebrew people were persecuted and enslaved in Egypt, God saw their plight. He heard their cries. He felt for their miserable condition, and he came to examine the situation. Then he acted for the persecuted people by calling a deliverer, Moses, whom he had already equipped in the last 80 years. Our God is a compassionate and merciful God. He's not the transcendent other who is incapable of feelings. He is often moved into action, albeit in his way and by his own timing. He is methodical in his deliverance. Whatever mess we may find ourselves in, I still trust in his wisdom and perfect plan. This COVID-19 pandemic is still in full force, now with the Omicron BA.2 variant. Vaccinations can hardly keep up with the ongoing mutation of the deadly virus. But there is a higher power in Almighty God who sees, hears, feels, comes, and initiates deliverance. I truly trust that will indeed happen. But Moses didn't know that. During his 40 years in the Egyptian court and the 40 years as a shepherd in Sinai, nobody really talked much about this God of his ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Unlike the Egyptians, probably he knew that there was one God and not many gods. But who was he? He needed an introduction, which God gladly obliged. God appeared to him in the burning bush. Moses would have plenty of opportunities later to appreciate this truth. For the Lord your God is a consuming fire, a jealous God. Recorded in Deuteronomy chapter 4, verse 24. Where God is present, it is holy ground. He had to learn the fear of God. Besides being the God of his forefathers, God introduced himself as I am who I am. The significance of the name lies in the fact that God exists always, from eternity past to eternity future. He has always existed by himself, uncreated by any other. He is the only creator. He is the first cause. What a name. However, now in our NIV Bible translation, I am is represented by the Lord, capitalized L-O-R-D. And that is in Exodus chapter 3, verse 15. In some older translations, the name Jehovah is used. Why? The Jews were afraid to say out loud the name of God, and so used the form YHWH as a representation of God's name without the vowels. So we guessed at the proper pronunciation. Some arrived at the form Jehovah, while others prefer Yahweh. The NIV translation uses the Lord, capitalized Lord. Hence the difference. But Jesus knew that. He knew what he was talking about when Jesus said, I tell you the truth, before Abraham was born, I am. John chapter 8, verse 58. In one statement, he claimed to be the eternal I am. The Jews in his audience understood the significance of Jesus' claim, and they objected, for they picked up stones to stone him. Often, God's rescue plan involves people. Moses was God's choice to appear before Pharaoh to ask for his release of all his Hebrew slaves and all their belongings. Moses was charged with the task of bringing the people out of Egypt into the promised land, which was then occupied by hostile tribal warriors. But that was a good and spacious land flowing with milk and honey, a fertile and productive land. It was a land worth fighting for. I will be with you. This was God's promise. Could Israel be the bush that was not consumed by fire? Could God's awesome fire be the refining fire for the nation? It was a scary calling. But with God's presence in our lives, nothing is impossible. As long as it is not my personal prideful ambition or dream of the flesh, and as long as it is God's clear command, I need to obey and answer, Here I am, Lord, send me. Good things will unfold gradually. Faith will be tested for sure. But God never fails. When he determines to deliver his people from trial and tribulation, he succeeds. It was going to be a glorious ride for Moses. When we answer God's call, it will be a glorious ride for us too. Just wait and see. Thank you, my friend, for joining me, and may God bless you. See you tomorrow. Please like and subscribe to my channel and click the bell icon to get new video updates. Thank you.